Whoa, dudes! I was just out on the waves catching some sick, nasty bombs. But when I'm not out on the chop, I'm chilling with the Thicc Bois podcast. If you also dig the podcast, make sure you leave a like, rating, and a review on your preferred podcast platform. That way more dudes and dudettes can totally find it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I gotta hit the crests again before all the biddies and groms get here and start acting like total Barneys. Like, don't worry, I'll take care of it myself. I think Family Guy did something like that once, where Stewie was like, he was dreaming and he heard
it's like
Peter and Lois like having sex,
chopping wood.
They're like chopping a tree down.
Yeah.
And Peter like swung at the tree like 10 times and then laid down. And then like you hear like the vibrator buzz on, but in his mind it was a chainsaw. Yeah. And Peter's like, "Oh, you're just gonna use that? Okay, good night." I love old Family Guy. I when I say old, I mean like old, like the first two seasons when it was still kind of like really shittily animated and like terribly drawn. There was a lot of I felt like there was more characters. Mm-hmm. Like in the newer seasons, it seems to me that they're really only focused on like the family, and the majority of that's Peter. No, and then it's like Peter and like some celebrity. No, like they had an episode with like Gronkowski and.
Like, for what point?
Yeah.
It'd be different if it was like a one-off.
Yeah, and I don't like. This is kind of a nitpicky thing because South Park used to do it. Whenever they would have a celebrity on South Park, it wasn't like a South Park character made to look like that celebrity. It was like a picture they stole off of Google. No. And then they just would like make the mouth move up and down. They did that with, who was it? Saddam Hussein. Yeah. He was like Satan's boyfriend or whatever. But like Family Guy used to do that where it kind of used to do it that way where they would have, a character in the Family Guy style look like whatever the celebrity was, but they didn't have that celebrity voice that character. And it may have been they couldn't pay them to do it. Right. But they would just they would usually just have like some normal voice do it. To me, that was always funnier.
Well, that's what I know that old South Park, like celebrities used to want to get on South Park. Yeah. And they'd like make him, like George Clooney wanted to be on South Park. Yeah. So they made him voice a dog barking.
It's so funny. I love watching videos of like of Matt and Trey in the recording studio. Because it's so like, especially when they're doing like Kyle's voice. It's weird seeing that voice come out of like a grown man. Yeah. Because you're like, oh, they don't really have to do that much like editing they just pitch it up a little bit. Like he's already basically there. Or like Cartman's voice. Mm-hmm. My favorite one to watch them do is this shitty white guy. Because he always cracks himself up while he's doing it.
That was always my favorite episode growing up was the shitty walk guy.
Yeah. The one where the Japanese guy comes to town and
that one's funny, but
shitty sushi.
Yeah, I still like the original one where it's like him and the
Mongolians.
The Mongolians where he dumps that sweet and sour sauce all over himself. And all those dogs come out.
Goddamn Mongolians. It's so funny that like they don't get quote unquote canceled. Like people get mad at them and they'll bitch and complain, but like nothing ever comes of it.
Right.
And like
I think because people are like, if I bitch and complain too loud, like I'm next.
It'll get worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna clown me real hard.
Yeah. Like every time they made fun of Prince Harry and Meghan, they just would clown on him even harder. Like when they moved in across from Kyle, and like he walked over there and started rubbing his blue penis all over the window. It's so funny.
Well, it's like who was it? Isaac Hayes that got mad after the Scientology episode, and so they turned him into a pedophile.
Yeah, and then like he died like a gruesome death. I liked that because like they just chopped up old voice lines for him for that last episode.
They're like, I want to make love to you, Kyle.
He goes, I want to make sweet love to your butthole, Kyle. He's like standing there in the lunch line. It sucked that happened because like Chef was one of my favorite characters. Yeah. He's like one of the like classic like South Park characters.
That just kind of goes to show you if they're willing to do that to somebody that was like
beloved
on that show.
Yeah, no one's safe.
And everybody was like, yeah, fuck him.
Speaking of Scientology, did you? I imagine you watched the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Did you see the Scientology commercial?
No, but I've heard people bitching about the Jesus commercial. Was that Scientology in disguise?
No. So the Scientology thing was a whole different thing. That was like an actual like, hey, if you're curious about Scientology, come to one of our churches and pay $1,000, and we'll hook you up to that carnival ride machine where you have to hold on while it's vibrating. You know?
Yeah. Was it like the thing where there's like a guy with like lightning coming out of his head? And you sit in the chair. Yeah. It like vibrates real hard.
They're like, whoa, Uncle Fester.
Like put a light bulb in your mouth.
Yeah. No, the Jesus one that everybody got mad at was that there's and I've seen ads from this. I'm just going to call it a company, I guess. From this company called He Gets Us.
It's probably an NGO.
I would imagine that it is. But I see those ads very often on Twitter and very often on Reddit. And a lot of it is like this very, like, it's very weak theology, in my opinion. And it's also like there's two halves of like Jesus's kindness that they always leave out one half of it.
Right.
One half of it, of course, is he dined with the sinners and he washed the feet of what's her face? I can't remember her face. And Judas both.
Mary Magdalene.
Was it Mary? No, I think that Mary washed his. She poured oil or the ointment on him. I think.
Yeah, I think when he died and was in the tomb, she was the one that went and visited him, right?
But the point is that Jesus always was like, "I forgive you. I'm showing mercy to you, but go and sin no more."
Right.
It wasn't like you can just keep being a degenerate. Yeah. Like you have to put in the legwork here to be a better person.
Yeah. Well, I saw like a screenshot. I haven't seen the whole thing, and the one that I saw was like, it was like a priest or something washing like
the gay guys or gay rollerbladers' feet. Yeah. He looked like the dude from Reno 911.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different stills like that, and it's kind of weird because the pictures themselves are like they're like composited images, like they almost kind of look AI generated.
They probably were.
They just have that look to them.
Yeah, they probably just went to like Chat GPT. It was like image of tranny having feet washed by preacher, man. And then it was just like a transmission.
Like, I'm gonna have to work with this. It's like a transmission with feet. But yeah, so it was all like I'm trying to remember. It was all directed at white Christian people.
No,
it was very clear that that's who it was directed at, and it was accusatory. There was a a police officer washing the feet of a black rioter. There was of course, the priest washing the feet of the gay man. There was a suburban white woman, like a 1950s suburban white woman with like the pink and white checkered like dress and like apron and everything on, washing the feet of a migrant woman who had just stepped off a bus with 1,000 other migrants and holding a baby. And there's a couple more like that. There was never. I just noticed. You're not allowed to notice things these days, but I noticed. Also, there was a white couple washing the feet of like a Muslim couple. It was never the other way around.
No.
Not once in that whole thing was it ever a black person washing a white person's feet.
No.
Or a non-Christian washing a Christian's feet. That was never the case. And I kind of understand, the argument there, of course, could be, well, it wouldn't be up to them to spread the word of Christ's salvation, right?
No.
It's on Christians to do that. But everybody's issue with it is it didn't come across as genuine. It came across as very accusatory.
Right.
And it came across as like, it's not the right thing to teach.
Right.
Because you're only teaching half the message.
Right. Well, you're teaching that, you can essentially just kind of do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and Christians should be subservient to you.
Yeah, there's no consequences for your actions.
Yeah.
Whereas, I think Jesus was pretty clear about what happens if you continue to act like an asshole.
I recently got a study Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that doesn't know, a study Bible is basically just a regular Bible, but there's a lot of they have a lot of doctors in theology who will write in notes and stuff on the bottom of the page, and they have a lot of maps and a lot of pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah, I always found that kind of stuff more interesting as opposed to what's it they call it? Where it's like the devotionals or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it just seems like they're just kind of throwing.
Yeah.
Here's a couple of verses.
Yeah. I have a devotional too, and I read that as well. But I started reading the Bible. I'm just taking it from front to back, and I didn't realize how quickly Genesis moves.
It's very quick.
The story of creation to Noah is 8 chapters.
It's not very long at all.
I was like, wow, this all happened really fast.
And the crazy thing about that too is when you're reading that chapter, there's a lot going on, and they do it in a very minimal amount of words.
Yeah.
So you really have to pay attention.
Yeah, and they're I noticed that too. I was like, every sentence has a ton of crap happening in it.
Yeah.
And I was like, and they just move right along. Right. They spend no time explaining it.
And it's if you're not paying attention to the sentence that you read before, it's you're going to miss something in the next sentence that gets stated. And
it's funny because so when you're reading through this thing, the actual Bible portion of it, that text is larger, and then the notes version where they kind of explain some of that stuff is much smaller text, and the first couple of pages is mostly explanation.
Yeah.
Because the first couple chapters of Genesis is just so heady.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot going on there.
Yeah. You could write books on probably the first
couple chapters alone.
First 5 chapters.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I think that kind of stuff is interesting because it's have you ever seen the mapping where it shows all the link texts? This references this. It's over 80,000 references.
Really?
That go back and forth between the Old and the New Testament and the Old and the Old Testament.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was a couple things that I was reading about. I was reading in the notes portion where it was the Old Testament is already referencing late stage New Testament stuff, this far back. And it was when it's explaining to you how it coincides, it's if you want to jump ahead and check this verse, you can see how it's connected.
Right.
So all that stuff was really cool. I didn't realize how much of a stinker Abraham was.
Yeah.
He was just causing trouble everywhere he went. I was this guy kind of sucks. I think twice he went into Egypt. I know that once he went into Egypt and he told the Pharaoh that his wife was actually his sister, because if he told him that it was his wife, the Pharaoh would have killed him. And then God starts punishing the Pharaoh, And Pharaoh's like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Like, I just married this lady. He said it was his sister. And he's like, no, it's actually his wife. So in the Bible, like, the Pharaoh goes to, at the time he was just called Abram. He wasn't Abraham yet. He goes to Abram and he's like, dude, what? Why did you tell me that your wife was your sister? And he was like, I didn't want you to kill me. He's like, I wasn't going to kill you. Yeah. It's really funny. Of course, and then there's the story about him, going to sacrifice his son and all that stuff. And he just everywhere he went, he was causing trouble. He was a crafty little Jew.
Yeah. Yeah. The interesting thing too with Abraham is that's where Judaism splits off from Islam. Mm-hmm. So I think
Ishmael. Ishmael was the son that Abraham had with Hagar.
Yeah.
And then Jacob.
And then his wife, Sarah.
Or no, Isaac, I'm sorry.
His wife was Sarah, right?
Sarah, yeah.
But it used to be Sarai.
Yeah, Sarai.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. That was another thing I didn't know. A lot of characters in the Bible have a lot of name changes.
Yeah.
Very odd.
Where it was she was like, hey, you got to get this bitch out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, she's got to go.
She's got to go, yeah.
And then so, he kicked her out. And then, they went into, they essentially went into the Arabian Peninsula. It's and then I don't know enough about Islam to state whether or not this is a fact or not, but I've heard and read some stuff where they say that they went down in between two mountains or something like that.
Yeah.
Their religion states, and then that Hagar ran back and forth between the mountains, and then that's where Mecca's at. So I think Mecca, I don't know enough about it, but other than that, that's the general area,
right, yeah,
where they consider their holy land, right?
I find it very interesting that, like I said, it's very early on in Genesis, where they're talking about Abraham coming into Egypt and there already being the Pharaoh there. Mm-hmm. So that implies that there's already been a long founded civilization with a hierarchy and everything. It was so much of the Bible just follows these certain characters, but there's still stuff going on all over the whole world.
Right.
It's by the time he gets to Egypt, all that's ancient Egypt's already happening.
Right.
And has been happening.
Right.
It tries to explain kind of the genealogy of of everybody's sons and who
coming from Adam begot who, and there's a chapter and a half of just names.
And I'm like, why does it spend so much time? Because out of 40 people who are born, it'll only follow the life of one dude.
Yeah, just a bunch of fucking do-nothings. It's sir, there's nothing but rocks and dirt out here.
There's nothing to do.
I'm having to hunt every day to keep my family alive.
Yeah. Of course, I read about the story of Cain and Abel, where Cain killed Abel.
Yeah.
And God asked Cain, where's your brother? And Cain basically caught an attitude with God.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know, am I responsible for him?
He's I'm not my brother's keeper.
It's funny because I never considered it that way, but when I read the note about it, it was in this verse, Cain got snippy with God, and I was like, ooh, bold. I don't know, gosh.
Why are you asking me all these stupid questions?
Gabaroo. Yeah, I just think it's very interesting. If anybody's curious about, the Bible or anything like that, I would recommend getting a study Bible instead of just grabbing a King James version.
Yeah.
Because none of that's going to make any sense to you.
Well, and the thing is too is as you go through different iterations of the Bible, there are some stuff that get lost in translation.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with some of that old Hebrew text, because it's more written as a flowing poem,
right? Yeah.
As opposed to you're just reading it to read it you would read a book.
Also, a lot of that was oral tradition,
right?
For thousands maybe of years,
right?
Before anybody started writing anything down,
right?
And then of course, if you've ever gone on Google Translate and translated a sentence 3 or 4 times through different languages, by the time you get it back to English, it's nowhere close to being the same thing. So I don't know. Like I said, it's just very interesting to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting that book is that old.
Yeah.
And it still is a bestseller.
I know, right? Yeah. Was it the what were the Dead Sea Scrolls part of what helped them translate?
I think so. That sounds right.
I can't remember. They found them in. I think they found them in those caves or whatever, and like
Turkey or something.
No, it was in. Yeah, I think it was in what is modern day Jordan. I can't remember exactly where they found them, but all I know about them is that, like, it helped them. I think it did help them translate a lot of that ancient Hebrew,
right?
Because like the Hebrew as a language has been around since people have been around.
Yeah.
It's a very old language,
extremely old,
and but it has changed over the years. Where it's like if you take like a modern guy, someone who speaks modern Hebrew, and then have them look at it like ancient Hebrew, like this is basically a different language,
right? Well, it'd be like, it's like, you remember like trying to read the Scarlet Letter, you're like, the fuck, what is this?
Yeah.
Or like, was it Beowulf?
Uh-huh.
It's like, this doesn't, none of this makes sense.
It's just word salad.
Yeah, like, these are just words on a piece of paper. It doesn't mean anything.
Was it
like, you now imagine like going back 8,000 years and being like, what is this?
Like some guy speaks to you.
Yeah.
Like you're both speaking English, but nobody understands what anybody's saying. It's like, when you see like Old English or whatever and they use the Y-E, that's not pronounced ye, that's pronounced the. So the Y letter used to make a TH sound.
For what reason?
I don't know. They just did. And then they had a lot of letters that they just got rid of. They're like, we're not going to use this letter anymore. Like the C with like the little tail or whatever. Yeah. I guess technically that is still used in the one word facade. Yeah. You spell it with that letter, but it's never used anywhere else.
No.
Or the thing that looks like a backwards B that isn't connected at the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
That makes a sh sound.
Like a SH?
I think so. I'm pretty sure. I know they use that in German, but that used to be part of English as well.
No.
And English was already like 5 or 6 different languages all mishmashed together.
One of the craziest languages is like Russian.
Yeah.
Because like they have like normal letters that make normal sounds.
Yeah.
But then they have like part of like the acrylic alphabet.
Yeah, it's crazy letters.
Yeah, or just like a box.
Yeah.
It's like blah.
You're like, what?
You're like, what is that?
Why not just spell that out with the other normal letters?
And wasn't you were saying like, is it Mandarin that like when they write it down, like when it's written down, it's just like, it's more like an image of what this thing would be, as opposed to like spelling it out with characters.
So we call them characters, but I know in Japanese they're called kanji. I don't know what they're called in Chinese. The actual little like symbols or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it was like when I was learning Chinese, I kind of went into it thinking like, okay, there's going to be some kind of context clues in these characters that'll tell you how to pronounce it, and there's just straight up isn't.
Right.
Like you just have to have somebody tell you, this is how this character is pronounced, and that's what it means.
Right.
And like you have to learn that for every single character.
No.
And then sometimes you have the same character, but depending on where it is, it means something totally different, and it's pronounced totally different.
Right.
So it was.
So it's not like phonetic like it would be with the English alphabet,
where you build your words based on the sounds you make. Because like you just have a word, you have a character that means a thing and sounds a way.
Right.
And it was like,
so you can't really use context clues to read.
There's nothing. It's interesting because if you look at, they did something funky with their numbers. Like the Chinese 1 through 3 is yi, r, and san, and yi is a single line, r is 2 lines, and san is 3 lines. Simple enough, right?
Makes sense.
4 is su. And it's like a box with like a bunch of crazy shit going on the inside.
No.
And then they just totally abandoned the whole line thing moving forward. Like everything has like a crazy look to it.
Like, whoa.
Like, well, why did we keep doing this? But they don't have, I guess, characters or words for like higher numbers. Like we have a word 112.
Right.
But like for them,
isn't it like they have to add the numbers together?
The arithmetic is kind of baked into saying the number anyway.
I had heard that's why they're so good at math.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of doing it anyway.
Yeah. Like it's like, so 10 is she,
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to say 40,
you say she.
It's either you don't say she 4 times. You say she and su, which is 4. But I can't remember which order of it. I can't remember if it's su, she, or she su.
Yeah.
It's one of those two. I don't remember which. It's been a long time since I've practiced it. But it was like, if you wanted to say 42, it's like si, sh, r, or something like that.
Yeah, so you're kind of having to add the numbers together as you're going.
Yeah, you have to, hang on, let me think let me do some math before I can tell you what this is.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, it was very interesting.
It's always interesting to like figure out, because a lot of people think it's just like there's like a 1-for-1 translation for English words to, just whatever languages you're looking at, and that's not necessarily the case. It's like, was it like in, is it Greek? They have like 5 different meanings for the word. Like, we just use love.
Yeah.
Like, and we just kind of use it in context so people know what it is that you're talking about.
Like ethos, pathos, and...
Yeah, you're not like, oh, I really love my girlfriend. It's not like the same love that you share for, like, your grandmother.
Or your dog.
Or your dog.
Yeah, we hope not.
Yeah, we hope not.
Yeah, they had different words depending on what type of love you're talking about.
Was it like one of them's like agape, which is like selfless sacrifice?
I think so, yeah.
Something like that. It's along the same lines of that, where it's not like sexual lust.
Right.
It's like, I'm here to help you because I love you.
I came across this video not long ago. There was this woman who teaches she teaches a class on how people who learned English, how to sound American, like how to speak like with like the right cadence, and like just so you blend in a little better if you're interested. Some people don't give a shit. They just like, I know the words. That's all I need to know.
Yeah.
But she spelled out this sentence, and I remember the whole thing, but I remember specifically one word was the word to, T-O. And it was like, how do you pronounce that? And she asked all these like native English speakers, how do you pronounce this word? And they were like, to. Everybody said to. And I was like, okay, now read this sentence. I'm going to the store. And people were, I'm going to the store.
Yeah.
So you didn't say to, you said to.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh shit, I never realized that.
Right.
But like, if somebody said to you, I'm going to the store, do you want anything? You're like, why did you say to all weird? Yeah. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff, a bunch of words like that we only kind of half pronounce, or you kind of blend into other words.
No.
You kind of just pick that up,
just speaking
it around other people. It's like slang words or anything like that,
Like Riz and
Riz and no cap and on God and for real.
Yeah.
And, Jesus. You know what else I noticed watching the Super Bowl? I don't know who any of the new whores are.
I have no clue.
I just remember all the whores from like my time.
Yeah, from the whores from my time.
I remember some of the past whores. But there's always a new whore. Like every year there's a new whore. Have you noticed that? Like I think the freshest whore is Ice Spice.
Who?
Ice Spice.
I Spy?
Yeah, Ice Spice.
Oh, Ice Spice, like the Spice Girls?
Yeah, you probably saw her sitting next to no, not the Spice Girls. She's a whole different thing.
Oh, this is okay, so it's something different then.
Yeah, you probably saw her sitting next to Taylor Swift. She was the black girl that had like the orange afro.
Oh, yeah, she was fucking wild looking.
Yeah, some people like to call her Rwanda McDonald.
So people find her attractive?
People find her desperately attractive.
Okay, I'm going to point out a few things here.
She has a very large posterior, so that does a lot of the heavy lifting.
That's kind of wild to me that like people just kind of like look at someone's ass and like they just kind of forget everything else.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't particularly find her very attractive at all.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what the fuck is going on with that hair. That looks fucking wild.
It looks like a Party City wig.
Yeah. And then like her face is kind of normal, I would guess. I mean, it's like a normal looking face.
Yeah.
She doesn't have like an eye down here and like an eye up here.
like a Rick and Morty character.
Her face is fairly symmetrical.
It's symmetrical, yeah.
Right? One thing that I cannot do, it grosses me out. And I know who you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Is these long ass fucking fingernails.
The acrylic fingernails or whatever.
I cannot fucking do it.
I can't do that either.
There is no way that you are able to accurately wipe your ass.
Yeah, that big ass that you have.
The only thing I can think is that you just wad up a bunch of fucking toilet paper and stick it in your crab claw.
In your crab claw.
And then just rub it back and forth on your ass cheeks.
Gross.
And I would imagine, since you say that she has a very large posterior, there's a lot of surface area back there that she's got to get clean. I mean, if she's the new whore, I'm imagining that she has some money. Yeah. So she's probably got a bidet that sprays all that off of there. But
she still has to go shit in a public toilet every so often.
Public toilet. Public toilet.
I know some people who pronounce it that way, like genuinely.
Yeah.
Turlet and warsh.
I don't know. I can't do the long nails. They fucking gross me out.
I can't do it because you know how I am about fingernails anyway.
No.
And I feel like if you have those long fingernails, that's a lot of leverage that can be applied to the fingernail and could pop off your actual fingernail.
Right.
And that's going to make me pass out if I see that.
Well, you just can't do, like, what, these appendages are supposed to do stuff. Like, you're supposed to be able to, like, grab things. Yeah. Now, imagine I go to pick up my phone and I got these nails that are, like, out to here. I'm going to have to do like this and then put it in my hand. And
like, you might as well be wearing oven mitts. Right. That's about the dexterity you have.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, what is the point of this? Like, when did this start happening?
It's very popular with black women, of course. But I feel like the really long ones.
When I was in high school, like, the black girls were not running around with fingernails like that.
I remember that they used to have some pretty long fingernails. I think they just got longer with time. Like, I remember, like, they used to be, like, maybe out to here.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe an inch and a half or so, which is still very long.
Pretty fucking long.
But now they're getting them to, like, 4 inches.
Out here looking like fucking Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh God, why are we blanking on that guy?
I was going to say
Freddy Krueger.
I was going to say Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury.
But I knew that was wrong.
No. Yeah, I can't. I can't.
It's gross.
I mean, you know, I understand that I'm not going to win any beauty contests anytime soon, but it's like, you know, I can still have preferences.
Right.
You know?
I mean, I guess, you know, different strokes for different folks, but it seems very unsanitary.
Yeah. I feel like what's considered attractive is largely dependent on what area of the country you're from.
That's true.
So, like, there's like a, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills kind of look.
No.
Where everyone's very plasticky with the very gaunt cheeks and the done up lips and nose, and you just look like an insane, crazy thing. There are people
because they are insane and crazy.
Yeah, there are people. Oh my God, Mary's been watching that show recently.
What show?
The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Oh, really?
And I'm like doing something else on my own, but I can hear it in the background. It's like, and I feel like every single time I look up at the TV, one of them is crying.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do any of you have to cry about? All of your husbands are filthy rich.
Right.
You don't have to fuck them. All you got to do is go on these lavish vacations all the time. What are you so upset about? You don't have real problems, is what I'm trying to say. But there's that, and then, of course, you have, like, the greatly exaggerated, like, hip-hop kind of bodies, like Ice Spice, for instance, with the extremely large ass. Nicki Minaj, of course, is another good example. So that maybe those are, like, extremes, right?
Yeah.
I like somebody, like, my preference is, like, somebody kind of in the middle.
Right.
Just a normal-looking person.
Yeah, I wouldn't want somebody that's running around here looking like a 2x4.
No.
like I don't want some, like, tweaker.
That's right. I don't think Taylor Swift is all that sexy.
No.
I mean, she's pretty, and she has a pretty face.
She has had a lot of work done. Like, have you seen, like, the old pictures of her, like, as opposed to the new pictures of her? Yeah, like, it's subtle.
Yeah.
But, like, if you
she didn't go overboard with it?
Yeah, like, somebody posted a picture the other day, was like, here's an old picture.
Yeah.
Here's a new picture. Like, oh, there is definitely
something going on
there. Like, like her face and stuff.
There was, the girl who plays Starlight in The Boys.
Oh yeah,
I think her name's Erin Moriarty.
She looks fucking crazy.
She was the topic of discussion for a little while there. People were like, "Oh my God, she's had a lot of work done," and people were like,
"She wasn't an ugly girl."
No, not at all.
She was
not at all.
Yeah, I mean, she was fairly pretty.
She was very pretty, in my opinion. But like they showed this picture of like her from like season 1 and like this new picture she took, and it's plain as day that she's had a ton of work done.
No.
And then she made some statement. She was like, "I'm going off social media for a long time because I can't deal with the stress of people claiming I've had work done when I haven't." And it was like, who are you fooling?
No. Like I would imagine had she like taken a poll, everyone would have been like, "No, do not do that."
Well, of course you are free to do whatever it is you feel that you need to do with your body. I just don't think anybody has ever had work done and been like, "That's good. I'm good. No. I'm good with that. I can stop here."
I think there are exceptions to the rule where like there's somebody that might have like a deformity that can be fixed with plastic surgery. But if you're just like a normal person walking around and you're like, "Oh, I don't like my nose," or "I don't like my lips," it's like, and then you go get that surgery done, it's gonna make it worse.
Yeah, you're gonna look weird.
You're gonna look like a fucking psychopath.
The nose. They still can't do noses and lips. They can't change them to where they look normal, I don't think. It's just there's this one girl on Real Housewives. She has had like her top lip. You know how you have like that indentation right here in the top lip? That's gone. It's just a solid arch all the way across.
It's like stretched.
Yeah, it's like just this big like a balloon animal balloon across the whole. It's just so bizarre looking.
Yeah, like she could put like one of those pumps in there.
Yeah, like tied into like a dog. Look, it's a giraffe.
I don't know. I guess I understand from like women want to like. They don't want to let go of like
their youth and their beauty,
right? And I don't think guys. I don't really fucking feel that way at all. I really don't give a shit.
I look at me.
I'm too tired.
I'm fucking Christ. I look at what happened to me when I turned 30.
Yeah, it's only downhill from here.
I'm done. It's all over for me.
But I mean, so I guess like they're more or less like trying to hold on to they still want to look nice, and I get that. But I think there's
especially if looking nice is what got you where you are.
Right, exactly. As opposed to like working hard and like studying and like learning
being
something.
A good person and having a personality.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I understand it from that perspective, but at the same time, like there's a lot to be said for women that do not get work done and they just age gracefully.
Yes.
Like they look much better than like somebody like Cher who looks
Madonna.
Fucking wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Madonna, whatever that is.
The crazy thing about that is, like, it's the same thing if you've ever seen, like, a really jacked old dude.
Right. You're like, what is this?
It's that papery skin on top that you can't get away from.
Right.
Like, there's nothing that can be done about that.
Nope.
It's like, it just looks like a bed sheet thrown over, like...
They can't, like, de-skin you.
Yeah, put new skin on. Oh, fuck. Fucking HR Giger shit. But yeah, with women who get old and have had a lot of work done, of course, which we're starting to see now. That didn't used to be the case, but now we're starting to see like all these old, like, you know, women who were like in their 30s and 40s in like the early 2000s when all this like plastic surgery shit started really taking off. Well, now they're in like their 60s and 70s. And they look so fucking bizarre because their skin and their cartilage and their muscle fiber and all that stuff deteriorates with time. But the plastic that they had sewed under their skin, it didn't.
Right.
So now they've got like these weird, like, they just look angular.
No.
It's just a very bizarre looking thing.
Right. Well, it's like I said, like the women that don't get that stuff done, they look much better as they age.
Yeah.
Because like that's how you're supposed to look.
Yeah. That's what a person looks like.
That's what a person looks like. And like subconsciously, when you see these people that have had all this work done, your brain goes, "What is that?
Something's wrong."
Yeah, it's like the uncanny valley, and you're like, "That is."
Your brain's like, "This is unfamiliar. It may be a threat."
Right.
It's like bumping into the skinwalker in the woods. Something's off here.
But I mean, and like I said, you see that more with women because I think they're trying to hold on.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they do have like a lot of beauty standards pushed on them.
Oh, they definitely.
Yeah,
do.
as opposed to guys.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, with guys, there are some like, hey, like, be jacked. Mm-hmm. Like, don't be a fat fuck.
Yeah.
You know, which I have not followed that at all for the past few years.
Because I see fat fucks that are like married to like hot women all the time, and I'm like, well, they didn't do it. It's a rat race with men anyway.
No,
like I had made I had made the observation before. It's like I need to get myself in order, but it was like, well, then I'll see somebody out in the real world who's like 500 pounds. And I'm like, well, I'm not there yet, so I don't have to turn around just yet and go the opposite direction. That guy's still way ahead of me. But yeah, I don't know. I just and also like plastic surgery freaks me out anyway because I don't like the idea of something being inserted like under my skin.
Right.
And I think I've held that fear ever since I watched the original Mummy movie.
Oh, yeah.
Where the scarab crawls under that guy's skin and you can see it like under like moving around. He's like, "Wah," you know. Yeah. I'm like, in my mind, that's what plastic surgery is, like some doctor with like a plastic
scarab.
Yeah, he lets the scarab into the room.
He like closed his door.
You're strapped on the table.
It just goes into a big pair of tits.
You're like, oh.
Yeah, I mean that's. I know there for a minute there was like a thing with some guys where they were getting like implants to look like muscles, especially like in their calves. They were getting calf implants.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And like, but here's the thing about like muscle implants is that you can tell.
Yeah.
Like when that's an implant. Because like putting stress on the body, like it's not like if you lift it all the time, your joints and your tendons and your ligaments, they get thicker.
Yeah.
Because they're having a load applied to them.
Right.
It's like if you'd be like taking like a real skinny guy and putting implants in him. Well, he's gonna have real skinny wrists and a real skinny neck, and it's like it's just gonna look fucking wild.
Yeah.
Because that's your body hasn't adapted to it.
Right.
And so that's not how that's supposed to look.
It'll look all lumpy.
Yeah. It's like, you ever seen the guy that's got the synthol? Or the synthol,
oh yes,
or arms or whatever.
The injections he does in his arms, yeah.
And it's just like this big. He's got a peanut on his arm.
Yeah, it's so terrible. Like, you ever seen the documentary The Man Whose Arms Exploded?
Yeah, it's just like leaking everywhere.
Ugh, God Almighty.
You know, people like bodybuilders will do that to like fill out their muscles.
Yeah.
So like if they have like. From what I read, it was like when they go into competition, like what they'll do, like the big ones, like the Mr. Olympia guys.
Right.
Like if they're having like their calves, like they might put a little bit into their calves to like fill them out, but still then like it's just a oil that you're just injecting underneath the skin and it just sits there.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like your body does I would imagine like if it's supposed to be a temporary thing that your body would like absorb it and you would like pee it out. Like a subcutaneous fluid or something.
I mean, I would imagine it would seem that like people that like get addicted to that kind of stuff, which is a wild thing to do.
To that, dude?
I mean, I would imagine because they're constantly going back and getting it injected, so I would assume
pick a different addiction. Get addicted to sex, like Tiger Woods.
That your body would just absorb it, but I don't know.
Yeah. I think that probably, you know, with women, of course, there's all these like quote unquote beauty standards that is pushed onto them, and they feel that they have to adhere to. Like, you have to be skinny, but also at the same time, you got to have huge tits and a huge ass, and you got to have this, you got to have that. But like with men, I feel like really maybe two things is height and dick size.
No.
And you can't really do anything about either of those.
Can't do nothing about either one of them. Don't they have surgery where they can like get the inside out?
They have that. We talked about that a couple times. or they put like a little stent in there that kind of pushes it out a little bit.
No.
But
is this like a bearing that they
like one of those spring clips. Yeah. I saw this thing where people have heightening surgeries now.
Oh, where they break the bones.
Well, they'll break the bones in their shins and then like set them, and they'll do that several times over. And like the one I saw was like this guy went from being like 5'6" to being like 6'1", which is insanity.
So are they like breaking like halfway up the femur?
I don't know exactly. I don't think it's the femur. I think it's the shin bone.
That sounds horrible. Like, so you just like look like you're walking around on stilts all day long?
Well, like they showed the picture of the guy recovering, and I'm getting all like hot talking about it. But they showed the guy recovering, and he's just got like all these like he's got this apparatus like around his legs from where they've done the surgery, and he's got all these pins and shit like going into his skin, and you have to have that on for like a month for your body to heal up, and then once it heals up, they gotta go and break them again to make you a little taller.
No.
Yeah, no thanks.
No.
I wouldn't do that if I was 4'4".
No, I guess this is just the height that I'm going to be.
Yeah. I mean, okay, you take a 4'4" guy and you raise him up, so he's 5 feet now. So
right.
It's like, what? I mean, now I guess he can see over the countertop, but.
I think as a guy, like, it's just one of those things, like, you just have to come to grips with the cards that you have been dealt.
Yeah.
It's like if you are short, it is what it is.
Yeah.
If you have a small willy, it is what it is.
It is what it is. There's other things you can learn to do, and you better learn to do them.
They make marital aids.
Yeah. They make all kinds of stuff. I saw this thing the other day that was like, it was talking about women's sex toys and how they're just like fucking insane, like the things that they do. And it was like for men, it was just like, how about a rubber sleeve, you nasty fuck? And it was like, I was like, I never thought about it, but I guess that's kind of true. I was like, there's really only one thing you do as a guy.
No, true.
It was like with a girl, there's all kinds of shit going on.
Right.
I saw this, there was a screenshot of a Reddit post, I saw it on Twitter, where this guy, there's a sub called Small Dick Problems.
Oh, nice.
Which, look, I feel like if you have a small penis, the worst thing you can do is go find a community of dudes with small penises and just wallow in your self-loathing.
No, don't do that.
That is the worst possible thing you could do for your psyche.
No.
But it was a screenshot, and this guy was like, I've started doing this thing where I look up reviews for dildos that are the size of my penis.
No, don't do that.
And it was like, it's like all the reviews are like, it's okay. I didn't like it. It was too small. I didn't feel anything. And he's like, he's like, all I can imagine is like, this is what people would say about me. And it was like, man, you were just,
you're making it worse.
You're shooting yourself in the foot, like right at the starting line. It's like, you know, I feel like that's another thing that like, as you're growing up, especially if you're like you're in fucking middle school and none of you or your friends have any idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Right.
Is like, you kind of, all you know about sex is kind of like what you've picked up secondhand from like listening to adults or like watching movies and TV and stuff like that. So in your head, you're like, I have got to have a fucking hog of a cock.
Because everybody else does.
At 13.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to please a woman.
Yeah.
But it's like everybody is different.
Right.
You are different among your peers and the size of your little wee-wee.
Yeah.
You know, some guys have big ones, some guys small ones, whatever it is. But it's the same for women. It goes the same thing for women.
Right.
There are some women who need like a fucking jackhammer and a blowtorch in order to get off.
Right.
And then there are some women who like a light breeze will set them over.
Right.
It's all about finding somebody you're compatible with.
Right.
It's like you don't have to please everybody, and you never will.
Right.
It's like you just got to find somebody that you mesh with.
It's like, I would imagine that there are some women that are deep and wide, but but I would imagine that there's some women that aren't that way.
Short and shallow.
Yeah. It's like you got to find the one that's right for you.
Yeah. And I feel like that is something that you don't learn, you know, that's something that, I feel like that's something that isn't taught to young men.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's kind of something
you're left to figure it out amongst your peer group, which it's a horrific idea.
Terrible idea.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, let's let all these 13-year-olds figure it out.
Yeah, what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Back in the day, everybody was running around with their frosted tips.
Yeah. I'll never forget. I was sitting in like history class or something, and I had a friend next to me who was always like, he was always trying to be like the mature kid. No. Like he knew all like the stuff you're not supposed to know or whatever.
Yeah.
And he looked over at me and he goes, "Hey dude, hey." He was like, "Jason doesn't know what masturbation is." And I was like, "Do you know what it is?" He goes, "No."
Like, well,
I was like, what the fuck are you telling me for?
Like, well, that makes 3 of us.
Yeah, there's just 3 dudes sitting here who don't know what masturbation is. They're like, now be quiet, I'm trying to learn about the Revolutionary War. Being a dumb kid is so fucking funny. Just not knowing anything about anything.
You don't know anything. I just remember, like, people will always say, like, oh, high school was, like, the worst time of my life. It's like, you forgot about middle school.
Yeah, middle school was way worse.
Middle school was way worse.
Was way, way worse. Middle school was when I think most of my, like, hormonal stuff started happening. So I was definitely way more emotional during middle school. And, like, and we've said thousands of times, that's when you are transitioning from a child kid to, like, you know, a teenager, you know, quote-unquote adulthood. It's the beginning steps of that, and it's just so awkward. Right. And it's so you have nobody to help you navigate that.
No. You start getting body hair and, like, acne, and it's just...
The first body hair I got came out of my nipples.
Nice.
That was the first body hair.
Are you serious?
It's like I'm already a fat kid with man tits. Now I got fucking nipple hair.
Oh, God. Yeah, like being, like, I just remember that age. Like, it was so horrific. Like, going to school every day was horrific because that's when you first started, like, kind of wearing, like, deodorant. Yeah. It's like when you, of course, like, you go into puberty and, like, you start getting, like, the body odor and everything. Yeah. It's like, and you're not used to doing it every day. Right. So, like, some days you might forget. Mm-hmm. And kids are horrific. So they'd be like, damn, who stinks in here?
Somebody stinks like butt.
Yeah. And I remember, like, there was days, like, where I'd forget to put on deodorant, and then, like, I was in the bathroom, like, 3 times that day, like, washing my underarms.
Like, with the hand soap?
With the hand soap.
That pink hand soap. Yeah. I think that, like, I think the biggest thing that I struggled with as a middle school kid, and it feels weird for me to talk about it, but you have to remember, I was in middle school at the same time as these girls, so... I started noticing girls.
No.
Boobs. Because they had started...
Yeah, that's wild.
They started growing boobs, and I was like, whoa. I was like, a year ago, you didn't have those.
Right. It's like they come back from, like, summer vacation. You're like, what in the world is that?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
And, like, I'm just sitting in class, and everybody around me's got tits. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening, but it's something. I feel something. Right. Like, it's like, I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop thinking about boobs. That's what led me to go to Playboy.com.
There you go. Yeah, I always remember, like, I think 7th grade was, like, 6th grade, I remember kind of still being a kid. Like, it wasn't...
7th grade was about when it got
7th grade was, like, when it started.
Yeah.
And I just remember, like, sitting there and being like, all the guys, like, my voice had started dropping some, but that was about the extent of that.
Yeah.
It's like I had, like, some, like, one hair underneath my arm, like, in my armpit. And then, like, but, like, all the girls have obviously, like, well, girls start puberty earlier.
Right, yeah.
So, like, they start, like, becoming women earlier than guys start becoming men.
Girls actually nowadays are starting to hit puberty way younger than they used to.
That's wild.
And I think, you know, just a tangent was like, I think it has something to do with all the preservatives and shit in the food.
Oh, probably.
I think like it's my fucking hypothesis. I read that that's what the going theory is.
Right. But like, I just remember being like in 7th grade and being like, oh, like the girls are like on a different level. Yeah. Then like I'm still down here.
Like they've already had some time with this.
Yeah. Right.
They know how to work around this a little bit.
Like I'm still like playing Pokemon.
You're like, oh, I don't know what's happening. You're like halfway through transforming, like this fucking freak. Like the fucking Animorphs.
Yeah.
You're like the halfway through your Animorph kind of guy.
Like the half rat guy.
Yeah, his face is real long.
Like, I don't know. It got better. Like, ninth grade was still pretty shitty. 10th grade for me, I was like, oh, okay. Like, it's not that big a deal anymore.
You kind of realize you're not the only person that it's happening to.
Right.
It's happening to everyone around you all
at
at the same time. Yeah.
Right.
I can't imagine being a middle school teacher.
No.
And, like, having to teach these kids some shit like Oedipus.
No.
And they're sitting there, like, you know.
Just like,
what's happening to me? Yeah.
It makes it like impossible to concentrate on anything.
Yes, it's so fucking difficult to concentrate on anything. It was so big. I'm glad you only have to do it once.
Yeah.
I'm glad there's not like a second puberty.
Like a D-puberty.
Yeah, like when you hit like 40, you start reverting. You're like, no. My adult penis.
Yeah, I just remember. I just think it's funny because everybody's like, high school was the worst time of my life. It's like, no,
I really enjoyed high school.
Middle school was the worst time of your life. Don't kid yourself.
I enjoyed high school because, like, I think I was like, you know, I had a little bit of freedom, and I had, like, you know, all my buddies. None of us had shit to do, so we could all hang out, you know, as we wanted to.
That's what I always enjoyed high school. Like, I had friends, and we'd hang out and do stupid shit, and it was fun.
Yeah, we were both in, like, extracurricular activities, too, so you kind of had, like, a thing you belonged to. And I
think it's important for kids to get involved in extracurricular activities so you can be around like-minded people. Yeah. And that doesn't mean doing sports. You could be in the band. Yeah. I mean, they have, like, an art club, and they have the thespians. And
put them in something that they're going to struggle with alongside other kids.
Right, but that they have an interest in.
Yeah. It's like, because I think that, you know, the best way to build camaraderie is to struggle alongside someone. It's shared struggle.
You trauma bond.
Yeah, trauma bond, for sure. Well, before we run out of too much time, we got like 30 minutes left, but let's go ahead and bring up our Super Cringe Thursday post.
Why don't you tell us about that?
Oh, God, I just blanked. What was it? Oh, is it My Life is Like a Video Game?
No.
Yeah. So, okay. So this particular one, I'm not sold on whether or not
it's a shitpost.
It's a shitpost or if it's in earnest.
No.
And it's kind of weird. I usually have a pretty good eye for those things, and I can pick up on it. But I think what's tripping me up is so many people in the comments are saying it's a bit, and so many people are saying no, it's for real. But the guy who made it has not clarified one way or another.
No.
And that's all he's made. So it's like no one really knows. But what it is, there is a song called My Life is Like a Video Game by a band called Falling in Reverse. And
oh, they're the ones that do that?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And
that doesn't sound like any of their songs.
I know. I know.
They're like metalcore. What is that?
I don't know, man. But that's who made it. But it's just like really like out of context without knowing who made the song.
Yeah.
It's this very cringy like song about like being Mario, not Mario explicitly, but like saving the princess and collecting coins and all that. It kind of reminded me of Cosplay Girlfriend, that video I sent you. But it's that song, and this guy's doing a TikTok where he's like dancing along to the song.
No.
And he's got like a Nintendo Switch. And he's wearing like the Fallout like Pip-Boy on his arm, and he's got a Star Wars T-shirt, and he's like making soy face really hard at the camera at the beginning. Yeah, which if anybody doesn't know what soy face is when you see like a neckbeard dude like with his mouth really open as far as he can get it. Like it's like
a python.
Yeah, it's like a studyable phenomenon. Something very strange going on with that and why people do that. But anyway, he's jumping around and he's dancing to the song. He made himself a little TikTok and posted it. And it's just super cringe because you can tell that this guy is like maybe late 20s, early 30s.
No.
And it's like, I, as somebody who's in his early 30s and still plays video games, but it's a hobby and it's not my personality.
Right.
I feel like that's an important distinction that you have to make. It can't be your personality. You gotta have something else.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it might just be me, but it seems like there's a certain type of person that sits around and plays video games all day.
All day.
And it's people that don't have jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, because how else could you?
Yeah. It's like, and I get it, like, you can get pulled into a video game and then you look up and you're like, oh, fuck, it's 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, I've done that before, but... Yeah.
Like when Skyrim first came out, the first time I played Skyrim, I would lose hours.
Right.
Chunks of my day to that.
Yeah. But, I mean, to make a TikTok about it.
Yeah. I don't love any game so much that I would set my phone up.
Or it wasn't even about... This post wasn't really even about one game in particular. It was just
games
about
as a whole.
Games as a whole.
I love this so much.
Yeah. Do you think that was like do you think that bedroom was like in a place that he owns?
No.
Or do you think that was in his mom and dad's house?
I picked up that my intuition tells me that was a relative's house.
Yeah, I think so
and
too.
He's being allowed to, that's his
probably a grandparent's house.
His hovel they allowed him to carve out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it is in earnest. Maybe it's not. But the point
if not,
is,
if that's a shit post,
that's a good shit post.
Yeah, congratulations,
well done.
sir. Congratulations.
But I had posted. I was like, "This is what." Stuff like this is what makes me hesitant to tell people like I play video games because I think they think this is what I am.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, you're one of those people."
Okay, yeah, you're jumping around, making your little TikTok there. Yeah. I'm like, no. It's like really what I do more than anything is nothing. Right. Like once I get done working, I just kind of sit and wait to work again.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like video games are concerned, like I haven't played video games in a very, very long time. But I think most of that is you get older and you get more responsibilities and stuff that you do, and you just don't have the time to sort of sit down and do that kind of stuff anymore. Yeah. And as I've gotten older, like my interests have changed.
Right.
I mean, for those of you interested, the NCAA 25 will be coming out this summer. So for those, you probably never played it, but it was the old NCAA football game. And the last one, I was thinking
NBA 2K is what I was thinking of.
The last one that came out was in 2014. And so the reason why it got shut down was because player name and likeness. So they were
remember something about that. Yeah,
so they shut it down. Well, with the new NIL deals where players are actually getting paid for name, image, and likeness, they're bringing the game back.
Oh, cool.
And the people that were real big in that community are very excited. Yeah. Because it's been 10 years that people have been asking for this game. And the community is still so large that people are buying the old games and then making like mods to like update it with like just new features and stuff.
Right.
So it's very exciting. So I might play that one a little bit just for some nostalgia. But like, I mean,
I'm looking forward to the new GTA 6.
Yeah.
I'm going to play that.
But I mean, just stuff like that. I mean, but for the most part, like my interests have changed. Like I'm much more like I'll get on YouTube and watch videos about like fixing cars or like about like shooting guns or something like that. Like more of my interest is in like learning now. Like it's always been like stuff like I didn't quite understand, and I'm like, well, let me look up a video on it.
I've done that before too. I was like, I didn't used to get this, but now I want to know like if I'm old enough to like get over whatever hurdle I have. But speaking of hobbies, I've been meaning to ask you this. What's with the lawnmowers?
Oh yeah, the lawnmowers.
Tell people about the lawnmowers, Wesley.
So Dad had an old zero turn that he's like, I'm not going to use this anymore. He's like, it's a piece of shit.
The Cub Cadet?
Yeah, it doesn't.
I have never seen somebody fight a lawnmower that hard.
It doesn't run. And then so he's like, he gave it to me. He's like, you can fix it up and sell it. And I was like, awesome. I was like, well, that's what I'll do. And so I fixed it up, and for the most part, I fixed it up, and then sold it to a guy on Facebook, and I was like, awesome. I just made some cash.
Yeah.
So I just like bought 3 more.
Yeah.
And so my plan is to fix them up. And it's actually kind of interesting because most of the stuff I can find on YouTube, and I can just follow what they do.
Yeah.
And they teach you how to do it. And I think it was a good introduction to sort of like questions that I had about cars because I didn't know anything about them. Like I didn't understand anything about like headers or like it just sent me down this road of like wanting to learn more about like how does a combustion engine work.
Right. Well, I think if you start somewhere small like that,
it's much more manageable.
It'll naturally lead you into those bigger things.
Right. Like if you don't know anything about like cars and you open up the hood of a car, you're like, this is way too much.
You're like, sensory overload. You're like, blah.
Yeah, there's too much shit going on in here. And I still get that way sometimes, like if I like open up the hood of a car or whatever, because I'm still very new and I'm still learning a lot.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is like I'll look in it and I can begin like pointing things out. Like I know what that is.
Yeah.
I know what that is. I know that this does this. I know that does that. So it makes that much more manageable.
Right. Yeah.
Like when it used to be like when people would say like a 5.2 liter. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking?
That means nothing to me.
What are you talking about? And then somebody was like, there's like, oh, it's just the displacement that the engine makes when the combustion happens.
Yeah.
Like when people used to talk about like a 350, it was just when the piston goes up to the top of the valve and the combustion happens and it pushes it out. All it is talking about is if I'm doing this right, I think it's just the displacement of the fuel.
Yeah.
So that's just all that is.
So is that like 350 is like how much fuel?
Yeah, cubic.
Is?
I think it's cubic inches.
Cubic inches.
350 cubic inches, which that takes account.
Is that why smaller engines are in cc's? So it's like cubic centimeters, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think so, but like with like a large like 350, like a small block 350, like we had a 305 in the truck, so it was like 305 cubic inches of displacement that it was doing. Well, now when they talk about like a 5.2 liter, it's just a metric conversion of what that is.
I wonder why they did that.
Just because everybody uses metric.
Everybody uses metric, yeah.
It's just easier to do it that way. And it's really interesting because like you'll get online and like I'll watch somebody like replace a boot like on like an old or like a suspension like for like an old car or truck or anything. I'm like, oh, I can do that. Like that's not like when you see somebody do it the first time, you're like, that's what that is.
Like it sounds much more involved than what it is.
And I think it's really important people learn more about their cars. That way, when you take it into a shop and somebody says, oh, we need to do a front suspension replacement, and you go in there and look, you're like, no, you don't. Like there's nothing coming off of the suspension. Like there's no oil. Like it's not leaking anything. It's like, don't get taken advantage of.
They'll take you for a ride if you let them.
Right. Yeah. It's like you should learn more about your car. Like learn how to like change your oil. Learn how to find your engine cabin or like the engine filter or like the cabin filter.
Right. Yeah.
Like learn how to like change your transmission fluid.
And I guarantee you, there's a video on YouTube for whatever kind of car you have.
Yeah. There is a guy on YouTube that I've been watching. There's bunches of them, but. There's Scotty Kilmer.
I love Scotty Kilmer.
I watch Scotty
he's the
Kilmer.
Man.
Yeah, and then
he's insane.
Yeah, and then so
he's always yelling.
But his like he does that and then like keeps you drawn into the video, like which is helpful. And I watch Chris Fix.
I like Chris Fix too. Yeah,
Chris Fix, and then like for just stupid shit, I'll watch Donut, like Donut Media.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I'll send, they've got a bunch of stuff where they do like engine swaps and that kind of stuff, and I find that interesting.
I know like A1 Auto has a YouTube channel. And
really?
A1 Auto was I watched their video on replacing that steering bearing in my steering column, which would have cost me $800 if I took it to the shop and had them do it.
No.
But I bought the $15 part and I got to spend an hour and a half with my dad, and we just fixed it ourselves. Yeah. We just watched their video and did what they did.
That's what I would love to have, just like a beater piece of shit project car.
Yeah.
And just like get experience.
Right.
Like troubleshooting, like if you go to start it and it doesn't start, like the lights come on, you go, oh, okay, well let me check and see how much voltage I have coming off my battery. It's like, well, you got 12 volts, so you're like, okay, that's fine. And then you go and check the starter, you check the fuses, like just that way, like it's not as scary because it's like this doesn't have to drive tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right? It's just going to sit here
until I fix it. Yeah.
Right.
There's a when you're headed home, you know, right down here when you turn left at the light, and like so you turn left at the light, and that church is on your right. A little bit further down, there's another house like up on the hill there. He's got a garage, and I think he fixes cars and stuff.
No.
He's got what looks like an old Chevy, like some 56 or something Chevy sitting there that's for sale. I've been kind of wanting to go and look at it, but it kind of looks like it's got a lot of rust on it. And that's something like, you know, like I could probably watch a video on like how to like change out a starter alternator or something like that. But like if he's got like a rusted
body work is a different thing.
Yeah, if it's like a rusted out quarter panel, it's like, okay, now we're getting into thousands of dollars replacing that kind of shit.
And then you would want to check like your frame. If the frame is all rusted out and shit, then
you might as well trash that whole thing.
Right.
Yeah. There was a you remember that show Pimp My Ride? There was they got one guy's car and they stripped it down to start working on it, and they found out that it was two cars welded together. And they're like, we just gotta buy him a new car because you can't have this.
I don't know. I find that kind of stuff fascinating. Like as I've gotten older, I've gotten more into, cause like our grandpa, like he used to work on cars all the time.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like such an impossible like thing to try to learn.
Where do you even start?
Like where the fuck do I start with this?
Yeah.
Whereas like on YouTube, like you just start with small stuff. Like I just started with like, how does a combustible engine work? What's the difference between a 2-stroke and a 4-stroke?
Yeah.
Like to just
all I know is
start there.
2-stroke has to have fuel and oil mixed.
Yeah, so it's fuel and oil mixed. So you have the spark plug that sits at the top, and then the carburetor will push the fuel and the oil into the chamber.
Yeah.
And then, but the exhaust is open all the time. So you're getting fuel and oil leakage coming out of the exhaust. And so it compresses the fuel and oil, which I think it's like a 12-to-1, or it's a 12-to-1 oil, fuel to air mixture.
Yeah.
I think that's right. And then it pushes it up, and as it gets to the top of that stroke, that spark plug will spark, and that's what creates the ignition.
Right, yeah.
And then the combustion happens, essentially just a controlled explosion.
Yeah.
And then it pushes the piston back down.
Right.
And then everything will come back out of the exhaust. So it pushes all of that stuff out of the exhaust because the carburetor is shooting air and fuel back into the chamber or into the valve.
Right.
Whereas like with a 4-stroke, you have the spark plug sits at the top, and then you have an intake, and then you have your exhaust. And these are two valves that go open like this.
So there's two different things.
There's two valves, and that sits on, I think if I'm not mistaken, that sits on the camshaft.
Yeah.
And so the camshaft is like a shaft that runs across, and it's got all these little like knobs
all
and
over,
and the knobs are like
different
positioned
positions
differently.
Yeah.
And so as that camshaft is turning, it's either pushing down to let fuel in, and then or if you have direct injection, that's different. But it pushes down to let fuel in, and then it comes up, and the piston is going down, and then so it suck, bang.
It's
like suck, bang, something. I forget. There's a like a wording for it.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on it right now. So the fuel will come in from the intake. It'll spray it down into the valve, and then as the piston comes up, spark plug ignites.
It compresses too, right? Like
it compresses all that, and that's how you get where the piston comes in and it shoots it back down. Is that explosion to shoot it back down?
And that's what drives the actual
the crankshaft on the engine, which sits down there with all the oil, right?
Yeah.
So when you see like an oil pan, all that is that sits down there with like all your shit.
Yeah.
Right? And then so everything's covered in oil, and that's why it's important to change your oil, because if you don't, it turns into sludge. Mm-hmm. And so
turns into Jello.
Right. And so as the piston goes down, you've got all this exhaust sitting in there, which that's how you get like your that's how you get all of like your carbon buildup. Mm-hmm. And then as the other pistons are being pushed down, your one piston that has already been ignited will come back up. And as it's coming back up, the exhaust valve will come open, and then it shoots because it's pressing it. So it presses that, and the exhaust comes out, and then it goes into your exhaust, I think it's the manifold, and then it comes out the not the catalytic converter, the muffler,
or
whatever it is. So I have like a rudimentary understanding.
Kind of understand the process of it,
right? And like
it's like intake, compression, ignition, exhaust.
Yeah, and then so the interesting thing is like you have these lifters, which are like on your two intake and exhaust valves, and you can actually like people will upgrade their lifters, and they'll upgrade the camshaft so that the camshaft presses the intake further in, so that you get more fuel into it, so that you get more horsepower. And so they'll upgrade the camshaft, they'll upgrade the lifters, they'll upgrade the fuel and intake valves, and they might like bore out a larger piston or a larger valve, so that you can get a larger piston. You just
volume.
Get more fuel, more volume to make more horsepower. I find all that kind of stuff fascinating.
Yeah, that is interesting. That's that's the kind of thing that, you would never learn about any of that unless you started somewhere small and started working your way towards that.
So like a lawnmower is a much more manageable version.
Yeah.
Like it actually started with we just had like an old weed eater that fucked up.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I just took it apart. I'm like, this is all this is?
Yeah.
It's just like one fucking piston,
all that's going on
valve.
Here. Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, like we'll just step it up and we'll look at a lawnmower. And so lawnmowers are small engines. I'm like, that's all this is?
Yeah.
Like you just have a flywheel that gets turned by the starter.
Yeah.
And that's what starts up the engine, and your flywheel's going around.
A lot of the time, the hard part of working on stuff like that is
just getting to it,
where shit's located.
Right.
Because like sometimes, especially on cars nowadays, like there might be this one bolt that you have to get to, and it's like behind 1,000 different things, and it's like, okay, I got to take my wheel off, and I've got to move my fuse box, and I've got to take these crossbars away, and I got to pull the battery out.
Right.
Now I can get this one bolt out.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, so, I mean, there's like a lot of like barriers to entry when you're talking about like working on cars, and like that is one of them. Mm-hmm. And another one is like we didn't have a fucking shop class. We didn't have a mechanic class in high school. They took that away.
Yeah.
There was nowhere for us to go. If they'd offered that, I'd have been like, fuck yeah. Like, I want to learn how to work on a fucking car.
Yeah.
It's like, but they don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
It's like you have to go to a trade school to learn how to do that kind of stuff.
I think the biggest thing that helped me personally was, I don't know everything just to know about cars, but I kind of know I can kind of get started on some stuff, and I know it's outside my wheelhouse. Like, what helped me, of course, was my job at putting around, because I started working on golf carts, and those were small. Mm-hmm. Most of them were electric, but a lot of them were gas as well. But like here recently, I had to have the engine replaced in my Sonata.
No.
But thankfully, it was under warranty, and I got it for free, because otherwise. I was about to buy a new engine.
Right.
That would have been like $5,000 for a car that's worth about $2,000.
Tell them, like, can we do an LS swap?
Yeah. But,
like a 500 horsepower to the wheel engine.
Well, what started was like, I was just driving along one day, and then all of a sudden there's like this ticking noise. And I was like, oh, that's great.
No.
And then there was no check engine light yet. No. And then I got stopped somewhere, and then I went to leave again.
Did it spin a bearing?
It was the control rod bearing came loose inside of the engine, and it like shattered and flung metal all throughout the engine. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's like a known issue with those Sonatas. Mm-hmm. The same thing happened to Chris's car, and the same thing happened to Aunt Beth's car.
Yep.
So I guess it's just a normal thing that happens.
Like, interesting enough, I was watching a video that Chris Thicc did, where they did the 24 hours of lemons, where that happened to their car. So that your piston has like a rod on the bottom of it,
right?
And so, like, if you ever look, there's like a C at the bottom of that rod, and you clamp it together, and it sits on the crankshaft, which turns that goes back to the transmission, right? And so in that C, they clamp together like that. There's a 2-piece like bearing that goes in there. It's just like a little piece of like slick metal that clips into those two clamps. And so chances are there's supposed to be oil in between where the crankshaft and that bearing is at.
Yeah.
And I bet probably what happened is that bearing got wore out.
Yeah.
And then it probably broke. I'm surprised you didn't throw a rod.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what the guy said. He was like, you were pretty close to throwing a rod. I mean, I drove the thing all the way from here to Kennesaw.
Right.
With it doing that.
That's wild.
And it died 5 times on the way there.
Yeah.
Like, I would just be driving along and be like, meh.
That's pretty wild that you didn't throw a rod through that thing, cause I mean, that if that came off and then the bolts start backing out, it's like you could just essentially take that piston and just throw it through the bottom of that engine block right through your oil pan.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
But I mean, like that kind of stuff, like it's not as scary.
Yeah.
When you start learning, you're like, oh, that's what that is.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's that way with a lot of like just cars in general.
Well, the only reason anything is intimidating or frightening is because you're not familiar with it.
Right.
It's like if you familiarize yourself with something, it's not that big a deal anymore. Right. It's like it's like when you're a little kid, you're scared of like shit in your closet. You kind of become familiar with the way the world works. You're like, oh, that's just not real. Like whatever, that's just my fucking closet.
Right. Well, I just like as the general population, a lot of people are just like terrified that something is going to happen with their car.
Right.
Most of it is just change your oil.
Oh yeah, a lot of it's just maintenance.
Just maintenance. Yeah. Change your oil. Check your spark plugs every I think it's like 30,000 miles.
Right.
Every 30 to 45,000 miles, change your transmission fluid.
Right.
Every 50,000 miles, change your rear differential fluid. Like, just get online and just look at stuff on YouTube. Like, it will tell you what to do. I would advise going to Chris Fix. Like
Chris Fix definitely is a good resource. But like when I took my car up there, they were like, "Hey, here's what's going on with your engine. We have you a new engine on the way. We'll have it installed tomorrow." He's like, "We also noticed that your passenger side tail light was out." There was like, and we can fix that for you. He's like, it's something with the wiring harness. That's another known problem with Sonatas is like those tail lights will burn out constantly all the time.
No.
And the one on my driver's side tail light, it once got so hot that it melted the bezel. It completely melted into the whole thing.
How much voltage is it running back there?
I don't know what the fuck is going on with it, but every time, like I've got several of them in the garage I can show you, where I've pulled them out and replaced the little sockets. They just get so hot and they melt. And I even replaced it. I even replaced it with LED lights because I'm thinking LED doesn't
pull as much.
It doesn't pull as much voltage. You're not gonna LED's not gonna melt.
Right.
And it killed the LED somehow.
How strange. Was there a recall for that?
Well, interestingly enough, so when I had my car there, they were like, "Hey, we're going to do your engine or whatever." He was like, "But you also have this taillight thing going on." He was like, "And also both your cabin filter and your engine filter needs to be replaced." He's like, "I'll send you an email link to all this stuff, like an item I extra see what all it'll cost." And I got the email and I looked at it, and it was like the engine was free, but I had to pay for an engine refresh kit, which is all the shit that's like attached to the engine,
No.
He was like, and you have to pay for that if you want to keep the warranty on the new engine. And I was like, well, I might as well do that in case this happens again. So that cost me $500. Actually closer to $600. And then the tail light thing was going to cost me $500. And I was like, no. I'll just keep replacing the bulb. I was like, I'm not going to spend $500 fucking dollars.
No.
And then they wanted to charge me like $70 to change my engine filter.
No.
And then like another like $70, $80 for the cabin filter.
You go buy that for $40.
Yeah.
From fucking O'Reilly's and change it yourself.
Yeah, I'm not fucking paying you to do that. You're insane.
No. Yeah, I think that's why it's important that people learn how to just do maintenance. You don't have to learn how to swap out a fucking engine.
Yeah.
It's like, but learn how to do maintenance on your car.
Yeah.
That way, you know what you're looking at.
Yeah.
And it will, I think for most people, it will lead you down a path of learning more about cars in general. So that if something catastrophic does happen, hopefully it doesn't, but you won't be taken advantage of.
Yeah. Well, they take advantage of women constantly. Yeah. Constantly they do that. It's like if you're a woman, you definitely should try to learn some of that stuff.
Right.
Also because like as a woman, typically you have men in your life that can do things for you like that.
Right.
And you kind of rest on that a little bit. But there might be a time where you don't have anybody to help you out. Like, so it would be good to know that stuff.
Right.
Like, it's good to still know that stuff and then still use your woman card and have somebody else do it for you.
Exactly.
Because as a guy, I can't do that. Right. It's either I do it myself or pay someone to do it. Yeah.
Like, well, what about this wiener?
Check out my wee-wee. This is like I'm calling the police.
Sir, get your wiener out of the engine block.
Oh, is that not where it goes? Silly me. Burnt the tip of my dick. It's like if you ever put like a piece of raw meat in a cast iron skillet and like sticks to it immediately.
I don't know. Just like I said, like as I get older, like my interests have shifted some. Like I'm sure I would still enjoy playing video games, but I got other stuff I would rather do at this point. It's like I like to learn. I'll get on and I just don't have a lot of free time. Yeah. So
I know today I have to go over to Ingles and rent a steam cleaner because I'm going to steam clean our whole couch and also like our bedroom floor and our headboard. So I think my whole day is pretty much booked up.
No.
And I'm probably going to come down here too and steam clean some of this.
The coffee that I dropped on the floor.
That coffee stain. But I mean, the recording room is what it is. Yeah. Have you noticed that outlet over there is like the hole that they cut out for it is way too big? So it just kind of hangs.
Really?
Yeah. There's just some live wires hanging out of the wall over there.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. That's for the next person who lives here to deal with that. But yeah. So, with the last couple of minutes here in our episode, I know everybody's probably been waiting for us to finally spill the beans on what episode 100 is going to be because this is episode 95. Actually, before we get into that, we have I'm sorry we need to read.
Oh, okay. Nice.
This one comes from our mom.
Uh-oh.
I got this one in person. She says, on the last episode, we had mentioned that song, I Feel Good, was written by Rick James.
Yeah.
It was not written by Rick James. It was written by James Brown.
James Brown, okay.
That's who it was.
Gotcha.
So here's the soundbite.
We're sorry.
And we're sorry. Thanks, Mom. But yes, so episode 100 is coming up. And we are going to do a live stream.
Yay!
I think the idea is to do a charity live stream.
Yeah. Don't do it to YouTube. Just go to your favorite charity and donate there.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the best thing we can do.
I think YouTube takes a percentage of that. Yeah. Don't do that.
So, whatever your favorite charity is, of course, you don't have to or whatever. We're going to call it a charity live stream.
Right.
But it's we're going to live stream episode 100. I'm going to try and set up like a quote unquote set. We've got all this green cream. Green cream. Somebody's like, I don't know if I want to watch this. We're doing it Shrek style. I got all this green screen material I can use. And probably what we'll do is we'll move the setup into here, into the next room over because it's larger. But we're gonna film it. We're gonna live stream it. And I think if people like the video format, we may do that going forward. No. I don't have very many more episodes to upload to YouTube. I think I've got like 50 left or whatever, which sounds like a lot, but I've kind of streamlined the process.
No.
I think, as a matter of fact, I uploaded so many that YouTube thought I was spamming the website, and they made me send them a picture of my ID so that they knew it was for real. So the idea is to have all of our episodes up on YouTube and then set them all to go public all at the same time. That way, when episode 100 releases, we don't have a YouTube page that starts with episode 100.
Right.
So episode 100 will release on YouTube, and we'll also release the regular podcast audio file on, our typical release. So you'll get it wherever you listen to podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever it happens to be, wherever we're at. So, but I'm excited for it. I think it'll be fun. I've been looking at like equipment to use and things like that. No. So I'm gonna talk with Wesley here about that in a little bit. But yeah, I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a good time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be good.
Yeah, and as we get closer, we're gonna nail down a day and time.
Yeah.
So that, you can kind of mark it on your calendar.
Right.
I know that I think most everybody who listens is in our area. So we're mostly in the same time zone, but I know we have some people who listen internationally to us. Like we have like 2 or 3 people like in Europe that listen. And then I think you have a friend that listens that is in Japan right now, right? So he might have to stay up late. Yeah. So,
and it could be that some of these people are using VPNs.
It could very well be that as well.
No.
But yeah, we'll get closer. We'll release more information on the Facebook page about all that, so everybody can be in the know. And of course, like as the weeks go by, we'll continue to post about it and tell your friends about it and have them tune in and listen. And probably what we'll do is we'll have somebody work the cameras or work the chat feed and read out messages to us and stuff like that. So we'll just see how it goes.
Yep, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun too. I'm excited. I want to wear my good clothes. Look all nice.
Yeah, we should like wear suits, but like not cut our hair and not cut our beards.
Yeah, I'll just let my peach fuzz grow out a little bit. It's just like a fucking freak.
It'd be like that scene out of Step Brothers where they're sitting there in the tuxedos.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's it. That's what's going to be episode 100. So I think a live stream where people can get in and watch and communicate with us and kind of participate with us. I think that'll be a good thing to do for our 100th episode. It's insane to think that we're about to have done 100 episodes of this show, and that people are still listening.
I don't know why. This is fucking wild.
Yeah.
You guys ain't got nothing better to do?
But, while we're on that topic, thank you very much for listening and for supporting the show. And, I hear all the time people reach out to us and tell us how much they're enjoying the show and how they always look forward to a release. And I got a couple of people that yell at me when we don't release on Tuesday. I'll get a message, be like, what the fuck? But yeah, so thank you everybody for always tuning in. But yeah, I think that's about all we got time for today. So thank you everybody for listening. If you have anything that you would like us to talk about, or if there's anything we said that we were wrong about, which I'm sure there is, make sure you write in, you let us know, and we'll read it out on the segment we have called I'm Sorry. The best way to reach us is probably going to be through Facebook. You can send us a message there, or you can email us at thickboypodcast@gmail.com. And I think that's about all I've got. Do you have anything you'd like to close with?
Nope. Just as always, thank you again for the continued support. We really do appreciate it. As Gary said, I think we're pretty much everywhere podcasts are available. We will be getting on YouTube soon, as you just heard. Mm-hmm. So we will be there as well. But if we're not on your preferred podcast platform, shoot us an email. That's going to be in the show notes. Or just drop us a message on Facebook, and then we'll put it where you are. Yeah. But I think we've pretty much gotten everything covered.
Yeah.
Other than that, just like I said, again, thank you for the continued support. We really do appreciate it.
Someone had asked me the other day if we had planned on making a Patreon. And I said no, because I don't think that we really do anything that's worth buying at this current juncture. No.
This is free.
Yeah, this is free. I mean, like, I can't even imagine what I would
feel bad.
I would feel bad doing that too, especially right now because of where the podcast is. But yeah, I don't. For that person, no, I don't think.
Keep your money. And just,
yeah, please don't give us any money.
Please don't give us any money.
It's just gonna make us feel bad.
Yeah, just keep your money and continue to listen.
Yeah.
I think if somewhere down the road, like, we get large enough, I would rather just take sponsorships as opposed to.
I don't want to take money from the listeners.
No, I don't want to take money from the listeners.
I don't think I would ever want to do that.
I understand like why some people do it that way, that they're not dependent on sponsorships. But as far as I'm concerned, if somebody came to us with a sponsor, like, have you listened to the podcast?
Yeah.
You understand what this is?
Yeah.
It's like, well, we're not changing.
Yeah. So that's another thing is, like, I feel like what we really want to maintain is just kind of the attitude and the the style of the podcast.
Right.
Where it was just me and you just kind of down here just shooting the shit.
Right.
Which I think that's what we would like to carry that forward. We don't want to change anything, which I think that's why people listen in the first place. But yeah, so all that to say, please don't give us any money.
Yeah, don't keep your money. You work hard for it. You go to work. Keep your money.
Yeah. Well, all right, everybody. That's the podcast. Thank you and goodbye.